A few weeks ago, I spoke about what we're doing here together, and I described it as making something. We're making something together. I want to say more about that. I'm looking back at the year that we've had, and it's been a big year. And I understand that the more we invest in this making, the more questions we might have about what that is. So I'll use a few illustrations tonight. And I'll start with the big ceremonies we did in June. It's a little strange to me to think how the first half of this year was so focused on that thing. And then it happened, and then it was gone. And here we are half a year later. And I know from speaking with some of you that there's still a kind of processing of what was that? I wanted to explain a little bit my understanding of why people came from all over the world to do that. They came from Japan, they came from California, they came from Puerto Rico, they came from New York. Why? There's a simple narrative, but it's false. That it was somehow about me. Or even that it was somehow about Jike as Shuso. There's a slightly more subtle narrative where we imagine that they came for us, that they came for our community. But especially, and I'm speaking of the priests I know from Japan, I know something about that mindset, and I understand they didn't come to support me. Even Yoshitani Roshi, whom I have known for so long and who has nurtured me so much in my life, he doesn't nurture me for me. He's trying to make an offering of me. When all these priests came here, it wasn't to celebrate us. It was because they understood that there was an offering being made, and it's one that for them is particularly important. And they want to make sure that it's done right. They feel that historical sense of it happening for the first time in this country, and they recognize that a community like ours can't just easily put it on. And so they spend thousands of dollars, and they spend their time, and they come here because they might be of service in making the offering in that moment. That's part of it. It's very simple. It's very impersonal. If we were a different community and I was a different priest, it's the same story because the offering is happening. They hear that and then they want to come. It's deep in them. That's what you do. That's part of it. The other part is that there's a feeling that I, in my role, serve as a kind of conduit of the Dharma. And that if we perform these ceremonies together, maybe I will be a better conduit. And similarly, that this temple is intended to serve as a conduit of the Dharma. It is intended to radiate the Dharma in all directions. And that by performing these ceremonies, that allows us to do other things that we couldn't do. that make that conduit stronger, that make our bandwidth wider, and make us more able to make more offerings. That's all. There's no version of that story except a very gentle, kind-hearted one about supporting me or about supporting us. Not really. It's more like showing us the way. It's more like opening a gate so that then we can open that gate. It's deeply generous, but it is deeply impersonal. There's a lot that we can learn from in this, both individually and as a community. If that's the response, if that's how someone wants to serve here, how will we want to support when we see an offering being made? What kind of offering will we want to make? That's one thing. Another, of course, and I spoke to this last time, is zazen. So basic. For many of us, it's why we're here, right? The rest of it is hard to describe. The rest of it is a feeling. The rest of it is maybe it's a maybe. Maybe we're not sold on the whole package of this tradition. But we sit in this way and we hold our bodies and we hold our hands and we breathe and we recognize something about this is worth doing. But in this too, we are making an offering. We are not making my zazen. There is no my zazen in the same way that there is no my practice. Zazen, just like these ceremonies, it's just there. It's there and we give shape to it. It's deeply impersonal. There might be things about what I'm doing in zazen or my experience of zazen that is different from yours. But the different parts are the parts that are not really zazen. That's me. That's the stuff that I bring into this thing that I'm giving shape to. I meet it. I vitalize it, and then I offer it. I make it available to others. And when I stop sitting in zazen, zazen doesn't stop. I just stop being the shape of it right now. And later I come back, and I come back, and I come back. It's never mine. And because it's never mine, it's never something that I'm good at or bad at. It's never something that I can get a gold star for. I can't get points for having sat a long time or having sat for many, many years. However long I've been sitting, zazen is way older than that. I've just been showing up to it for these years. I don't get to own it. The third illustration I wanted to offer was Jukai, the precept ceremony. There's a kind of confusion around it because in the West, for whatever reason, I think mostly, honestly, because for linguistic efficiency, when we translate Jukai, we often refer to it as receiving the precepts. But jukai, the kai means precepts. The ju, it doesn't mean to receive, it means to confer. It is never understood as a ceremony of someone receiving something. From the perspective of my teachers and their teachers and their teachers all the way back, the understanding has been that what's happening in that ceremony is that I, if I'm the preceptor, in the same way that I give shape to zazen, in that ceremony, I unpack this thing. I unpack these precepts that are always there, that we've only given a name to because it helps us. I unpack them and I offer them up. And the people who show up in the room are the ones who show up to say, I want to be there for that. If you have never been part of that ceremony and you want to take on the precepts in your life, you can do it right now. You can do it just by breathing them in right now. They're not mine. And once you breathe them in, they're not yours. They're the precepts and they do not change. But because they matter and we know that they matter, we have this ceremony where we kind of unfold them and look at them. And if you want to, you can come and kind of touch it and say, yes, yes to this. And we feel that, and maybe it strengthens our understanding of what was already there. But those precepts are not mine. I meet people, I travel around, and sometimes, someone will say, well, I received the precepts from so and so. It's a big name. And they're not quite saying it, but what they're really saying is, my precepts are a little better than your precepts. Or maybe they're saying that teacher's precepts are a little better than your teacher's precepts. And I smile when I hear it because we're human. And it's so hard not to do this. But I want to say very, very clearly, if any part of that ever starts coming out of you, it means you don't know what this is and you need to go back. Likewise, if you ever meet someone who did receive the precepts from that big name person, and some part of you starts to think, ooh, wow, that also is a misunderstanding of what this is. There is no need to receive the precepts from me. If you have the opportunity to receive them somewhere else, please accept that opportunity because the precepts are the same. I was trying to think the other day how many people I have received the precepts from, because it isn't a one-time thing. It's this incredible gift. It's this incredible opportunity. Anytime I am in a temple and there is an opportunity to say yes to the precepts, I do it. Every time. It doesn't mean that I get a part of that teacher. It doesn't mean that I got a special thing. It's like splashing cold water on my face. It's being awake to this choice. It's being awake to this path. So we don't discriminate about the precepts because they're not ours and they're not someone else's. They're never different here or here or here. We step into them when they're being offered. And then we go out into the world and we offer them. Not in that formal way, not in that ritualistic way, but by embodying them. They come to us and we immediately try to make them an offering in the world. In every aspect of this practice, something comes, we take it with one hand and we offer it with the other. Like this. Forever. If you ever feel that you're holding a lot of it, you need to get back on track. At the end, you should be holding nothing. Because your last act is this. This tradition is intended to wake us up to the offerings that are always there. It invites us in and then we offer them back out. That's it. It's simple and it's constant. And again, even though we each have our own experience of it and we each care about it in a different way, and our feeling about it changes over time because, again, how could it not? Ultimately, it is deeply impersonal. It isn't about how we feel about it. It isn't about the idea that we get something. I'll be honest, though some of you know because you saw me up close. When we did the ceremonies in June, I didn't feel very good. It was really stressful. People I really respect were here. People I love were here. There were 1,000 conversations going on at once. Everyone was trying to talk to everyone. Everyone was trying to make things so good. I was being a host in so many directions. And every once in a while, someone would grab me and they would say something so moving to me, right? Because they thought this is their chance, right? Let's say something really nice to Koun. But I was already so on the edge. I was barely containing this. And I was holding, someone would grab me and they'd tell me something so touching. And part of my heart would be cracking open and part of my brain was thinking, I can't forget the 4 things that I have to tell the person over there. Right? It was like a 2-day long anxious episode. And I know, because I kind of joked about it later with Yoshitani Roshi, who was here. I said, that was really not fun. Right? That was beautiful and I'm so grateful and it was moving, but I really was a wreck. And he said, yeah, but you did it. He didn't care. He had no investment in me feeling good about it. None. The offering was made. And I was part of that. Him being concerned about how I felt in the ceremony was like if I were concerned about how this feels about being used in a ceremony. I was the implement. I'm grateful for that. I'll end on this note, which is that we're entering a new year. And I know I've looked back, I have a kind of pattern where at the end of the year, I like to talk about New Year's resolutions or, kind of here's how we get steady in the practice or something. That's all good. But this year, because we're talking about this, and I've really been trying to focus on this, what I want to offer up is if you're thinking about the next year in terms of change, and I can't help it, I feel that turn. I feel that thing. Oh, it's a new year. Step back from this tendency to think about what should I be doing for me? How should I optimize myself? It's good to exercise more. It's good to read more. It's good to do all of the things that we say we're going to do at the beginning of the year, or to quit the things that we say we're going to quit at the end. That's good. But I want to ask you to take that next step of noticing why. It's not just so that I can be a better version of myself. It's so that I can be a better version of myself who makes a better offering. Maybe the version of you that exercises every day is kinder to the people around you, in which case, do it. But understand that resolution as an offering. What do I want to offer in 2026? How do I give something? How do I give something up? Not just in the sense of letting go, but in the sense of releasing it into the world. I'm asking myself this question, so I'm asking you this question. And I'll stop there.